Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast. My name is Corrinala and I'm still getting myself situated. The Afghan behind my chair, or on my chair here, is kind of bunched up. So, and it's very sunny outside, which is nice. Today is October 1st, 2023. And my podcast is typically about my knitting projects, and I do the typical format of finished objects, works in progress. I oftentimes have a segment on what I'm ripping out, and I may have that today because I have a finished object that I am probably going to rip out. What else? Acquisitions, kind of other maybe future casts on projects. And then, since most of these types of podcasts have like life stuff, a major part of my life are my horses. So I will talk about my horsemanship journey with them as well. I also talk about gardening and about cooking too. So I keep looking because the neighbor is pounding on something and it sounds really loud. You probably can't hear it, but it's a little distracting for me. And it's also distracting for me that the sun is kind of highlighting my face the way it is, but that's okay. We had a week of rain, which was really awesome since we had such a dry summer. I live in the Pacific Northwest, in the northwest corner of Washington State, pretty close to Canada. And I live here with my partner and our two kitties, Herbert and Harley, that we adopted from the local animal shelter in November of 2020. And this was after we lost our almost 15-year-old dog earlier that year. So it was just a really nice time to get some joy back in the house at that time. And my two Mustangs. I have Odin and Bragi, the Mustangs. They were adopted from the Bureau of Land Management Wild Horse Program, and I will have a link to that information in the show notes, which I think is now called the description box. So if you press the down arrow, you will find that information. I also try to include patterns I'm knitting and other stuff that I talk about. I don't always remember. So if there's something in particular that I mentioned and did not include it in the show notes, feel free to contact me. I do have my contact information in there. So pardon me while I take a sip of tea. This is mint tea with honey. Had a pretty stressful day yesterday, so I'm just gonna lay low today and enjoy my knitting and maybe do a little gardening. It is tempting to get outside because it is really sunny, and I'm just watching Harley jump up into the window. I did have a sweater on earlier, the first sweater that I knit. It's now hanging on the door, so that is a acrylic bulky weight, and it's just a top-down raglan sweater, self-striping yarn. So, but it's just way too warm. So now you just get to see my plain blue boring t-shirt. So on with the program, shall we? Just as a aside, I was watching a vlog earlier today, Tales from Cuckoo Land, a British woman who podcasts about her knitting and stuff like that. It took her 20 minutes to get through the introduction, so I'm kind of watching the time, and and she, she freely admits that she rattles on and gets distracted, so it's super easy to do, but I'm less than 5 minutes in, so I'm done with my introduction. So anyway, I hope you have a project to work on and maybe something nice to drink. Okay, so here's the finished object. These are the half-stranded socks by Anna Zilboorg, I think is the designer's name, and this came from the the book, Ann Budd's Master Sock Knitting. So it's a toe up, and I just showed you the toe up version, and stranded color work, really beautiful. The top part fits well. I made this out of this dark color charcoal yarn is a sock yarn, and the gold contrast color is 100% wool. So typically what happens is that you switch main color and contrast color. And I didn't do that because the sole, the heel and sole, is just all one color, and I didn't think it would last with that 100% wool. So the problem is that the stranded work part came out just fine. The sole and the heel did not. I do not knit toe-up socks very often. They don't fit me that well, and it just ends up a lot bigger than what I would like. So I think to remedy that, I could possibly hold the yarn double, which may be a good complement to the stranded color work. So I may rip this part out. I stuck these in the washing machine, kind of hoping they would change shape, and discovered that I probably dropped a stitch somewhere, and now I have a hole. So this would be a good opportunity to rip out. I could certainly mend it, but since there's too big anyway, I am thinking of ripping out this part and redoing the sole and the heel. And I might do it like from this little motif, the edge of this motif here down, and do the typical down heel flap and gusset, because I know that fits me really well. And I may try holding the yarn double and using smaller needles. The needles for these were 2.7, no, is that right? I think I want to say 2.75 for this kind of toe band, and then the sole, and then the color work, the main color, the leg of the color work section was a 3. And this fits fine. I may also redo this, or just cinch it up a little bit, this part, because I didn't read the instructions, quite frankly. So this was the first sock I did, and I just bound off in the usual way. But then I read the directions, and you're supposed to do a tubular bind off, which I think this is really pretty and looks a lot neater. So I may redo that, or just kind of do a fake one. I think that would be pretty easy to do with a tapestry needle. So I may do that. So this may go back in the works in progress eventually bin, but they are a little damp from being in the washing machine. I do throw my socks in the washing machine, especially if they're superwash. I just stick them in a garment bag. Is that what they're called? You know, kind of what you might wash your, like if you have lingerie, which I can't say I really do. But one thing I notice is that I tend to throw garments that have hooks in them. Like for instance, like a skirt or something that has the little hook thing for a closure, and it gets stuck in that little bag. So maybe I'll just stick the thing with the hook in it in the garment bag, and then put the socks out so that they're free. Be less of a mess. Okay, works in progress. So like I said, this finished object I just finished yesterday. I've had 2 other works in progress. One I'm almost done with. I'm super excited about it because I have some projects, some October knit-alongs that I will talk about. So this one that I'm almost done with is called the Misurina, and it's by Caitlin Hunter. So here is what it looks like. So that, I know it's sunny, so I apologize for that. So I just, I'm finished with the length, and I'm doing a tubular bind off. So I want to make sure, and it's going to be hard to show because I don't want to lose my needles. And this tubular bind off takes forever. But it does make a really tidy, kind of invisible bind off. But I spent a good hour on this last night, and I got like this much done. So, and there's probably about 300 stitches on here. So these are really small needles. I think these are size 2. Oh, maybe I should use these for those stranded colorwork socks. Anyway, here is, it's a top down. I use Brooklyn tweed yarn, overtones, and the yellow is goldfinch and the pink is hollyhock. So once I finish this bind off, then I just, and it's a short sleeve sweater, so I'll just have the sleeves, and I can make the sleeve, as soon as I finish this bind off, I'm going to try it on and see how long I want the sleeves. So, I mean, I may not have to do them very long. So this is a fun pattern because it has this cable and lace section. Hopefully I'm showing it to you. And then it has this color work and lace section. And then it has this, the body, once you get done with the yoke, there's an option, and I did both. So typically you can do like a lace pattern or a knit purl design repeat. It's a 4-stitch repeat in a particular order. I decided to alternate those, and I can't remember if it's 4 or 8 rows. It might be 8 rows each. And I just thought it kind of turned out kind of neat that way. So that's what I did. Yeah, so then I'll see how long I want the sleeves. So, I mean, it may just go down, oh, I don't know, sorry, you can't see me. I'm talking to myself here. So, you know, this is where it sits on my shoulder, and this is the armpit. So it seems like is a fair amount of sleeve length. So the sleeves may not take much. Like I said, these ribbing needles are a size 2, and then the body and then the sleeves are a size, I think these are a size 4. I like Chowgu red lace. Those are my favorite. I need these needles for some of the knit-alongs that I'm doing this month. So I'm kind of in a hurry to get this one off the needles. And I may be able to do that this week, which is perfect because the knit-alongs start later. One of them starts October 5th and the other one starts October 6th. And I'll talk about those. So, bags. This is a Mustang. Well, here, how about if I untie it so I can show you? This is Washington Youth Mustang Yearling. Maybe it's Mustang Yearling Washington Youth for my Y. And this is where I adopted my older Mustang, Odin. He's a gray Mustang. Adopted him from this event. And just, at the end there's an auction, and so you pay money for these horses that have been trained, that are gathered out of the wild and then trained for 100 days. So not super trained, but yeah. So as a little bonus, I got this bag, which makes a great knitting bag. Next work in progress that I have been working on for a while. I started this on a vacation. I think it was in August, and then I ended up ripping it out because it was too big. Because I do knit gauge swatches, and they don't work out for me. So I always end up just going back to the pattern and knitting the size that I want. And usually it works out. However, I use different yarn than was called for. This is from the Creabea. This is the Corran cardigan. Yeah, Corran cardigan. And I'm using a cotton yarn. And I think it is, Rebecca Clow is the designer. And the suggested needles are 5mm and 4mm. Well, I misread it. And I grabbed US size 4 and US size 5, which, lucky for me, I picked the correct size. Before, I just thought of something that I wanted to talk about with the Misurina, and I think I mentioned it in a previous episode. So, the Misurina is designed to have several inches of positive ease. And I am kind of tired of my sweaters feeling kind of big and sloppy. I was going to bring it out again, but I don't really need to. I can just talk about it. Well, I watched a podcast, Fiber Tales, this knitwear designer from Denmark, Lerka, I think her name is. I happened to stumble across an old episode where she had knit at Caitlin Hunter, or Boyland Knits is her company. She knit one of her patterns and she knit it to size, even though the pattern suggested several inches of positive ease, maybe 6 inches. Well, Lerka, like myself, likes things maybe a little bit more fitted than with all that positive ease, because I think I can safely say that Lerka is an active person and I'm an active person, and to me, I find it really difficult to function. I mean, even like empty the dishwasher or something, if, I have all this like fabric flapping around, around my waist and under my arms and stuff like that. What Lerka found out, though, is that she knit it to size, and it was like a straitjacket. So that is something I'm going to have to be very aware of when I knit the sleeves on my the Misurina. So, I may knit a small cuff and call it good, so I don't get that straitjacket effect. I did check my gauge after I got well into it, and I have more stitches per inch than what the recommended gauge is. And I looked it up online, and it indicated that the sweater would be bigger. I haven't quite sorted that out in my head, how that's going to work, because to me, the number of stitches per inch is still, even if you have, say, the gauge is recommended to be 8 stitches per inch, and say I have 10, it's still the same number of inches. So I don't know. I'll find out. So anyway, the Corran cardigan. It was lucky that I misread the needle size, although it would be going faster, quite frankly. And let's see, the yarn. What did she say about the yarn? Gauge needles. And I'm using a cotton yarn, like a DK. Well, and she said this sweater is knit in DK or worsted weight yarn. It can be knit in any fiber. So wool is likely to stretch more than cotton, but cotton may grow lengthwise, which would be fine with me. So anyway, I chose a size that would either fit or have several inches of positive ease. And she recommends 3/4 inch to 3.5 inches positive ease. So I think I'm right on track right now, and because I'm using the smaller needles. Another thing is that because I knit left-handed or continental style, so I'm a picker rather than a thrower, apparently our stitches are a little bit bigger. I'm still thinking back to the Misurina having more stitches per inch. So it could be a fine size. I'm looking forward to trying it on. But back to this cardigan. This is a bottom-up cardigan. I am working on the first sleeve. So I feel like, here we go. Here we go. I am apparently working on the left sleeve. So here it is. I love this lacy pattern. I'm not very far on the sleeve. So I think I'm going to make the sleeve at least 11, maybe 12 inches. But yeah, I think this is really fun. And it'll be, you know, I'll have a button band to sew on both sides so it closes in front. But I'm really quite pleased with this. I think this is going to be a really nice addition to my wardrobe once I get it finished. So, like I said, I misread the pattern and I am using US size 5 needles rather than the recommended 5mm needles. But it's working out for me. The yarn I'm using is a Knit Picks Cotton DK weight. I believe this is 100% cotton. Where is the fiber content on this? Oh, no, it is 70% cotton, 30% linen. So this is and it's just a gray. So I had intended this for a different cardigan, and but, oops, I just knocked something over on my bookshelf. But yeah, this is working out really well. So, oh, and I have a new cast on. So this is, I have a feeling today's going to be mostly knitting. I don't have a lot to talk about. Oh, this is not this is a future cast on. So what did oh, here it is. It's in my works in progress pile. So this is, I'm knitting, following along the Bakery Bears Sockoween, which started today. And I am knitting the Hobbity Socks, which is a Kay Jones pattern. This happened to be in the December issue of their magazine, Knitability. And since I am a patron, I get that as part of my patron goodie bag, I guess. So I just started this morning. I am using Freckled Whimsy. I love Freckled Whimsy self-striping yarn. So I just started. The top 2 rounds are the contrast color, and then so I do like the little pop of color that's Kay from Crazy Sock Lady does. And then starting, this is just 1 by 1 rib, and this main color started in this kind of light colored, and then the next stripe is very similar to the contrast color. So I'm not very far on this, obviously. I cast on, so you can see my Chowgu red lace needles. So I cast on with larger needles. I cast on with 2.5mm needles, and these are, I believe, 2 1/4. No, these are 2mm needles. They are size 0. And I do magic loop. I knit the small size based on the circumference of the foot. I have kind of long, skinny feet. So the small size, which is 56 stitches cast on, is supposed to be an 8-inch circumference of the foot, and I believe mine's 8.5, and I think with socks you always want negative ease. So that is what I'm doing. This is the last of, oh no, this is the first. I think this is, so I'm in the Yarn of the Month Club. This is Hagrid's Pumpkin Patch. And this is the new series. This is the, what does that say? Magical Mischief. So I think she switches things up. I've been a subscriber of her Yarn of the Month Club for a year now, and I was going to stop, but I can't because I just love the colors that she comes out with. Serendipity, this is 75-20% superwash superwash merino and nylon. And like I said, this is Hagrid's Pumpkin Patch, so this is, I wound this up this morning. I hand wind. I don't have a Swift and a ball winder. My perspective is that I only typically knit with one ball of yarn at a time, so that's just part of the process. And I learned how to roll yarn in a ball from an Arne and Carlos podcast. I think they was Sit and Knit for a bit. One of their episodes in the last 6 months or so, they were sitting and talking in their garden, and all of a sudden Arne just picked up a skein of yarn and started winding it, and he just holds it over his hands, his arms, and just, winds and like this, around your arms, and it works beautifully most of the time. So anyway, this is Sockoween. If you are a fan of the Bakery Bears, you know what I'm talking about, and if you would like to partake in Sockoween, I highly recommend that you go check out the Bakery Bears podcast. They're one of my favorites, so I probably have that in my show notes. Okay, so what are the future cast-ons? So the next, this is the wrong bag. The future cast-on, I talked about the Stephen West, his typical annual MKAL, and I showed that yarn in my last episode of what I'm going to do. That one, that project is a shawl. It has 4 colors and starts October 5th. So that's all I'm going to say about that. The next knit along mystery Cal I'm going to do is a Sofia Capella, although I think her last name is Carlson now because she recently got married. And it starts October 6th, and it's socks. I just happen to have another pair of Chalgu red lace socks, knitting needles. These are the bamboo ones. They are a little bit flexy, but I don't have a problem with them. And then usually a 32-inch cord. And then this is the size of the needle that I cast on with. So I don't know if you can see kind of just the difference. It's just easier to cast on with a needle this size and then start picking up and knitting in the round with the smaller needles. So this, I believe, is a stranded color work. So I bought this yarn at a trunk show in Bellingham, Washington at Northwest Yarns. It's been a few weeks. So relatively recent purchase. And it's a nice kind of tonal blue with, just very pretty. The designer, Dyer, is, the colorway is called Yup, It's Navy. And it is 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. And here is the designer label. Let's see if can you read that. I could put on my glasses and then I could read it for sure because I'm not super familiar with this. Jada Woo design. So, beautiful yarn. And I bought some of her hand-dyed yarn for the Stephen West shawl too. And it's either self-striping or variegated. I can't remember. So the contrast color, or this could be the main color, I'm not sure. This is a legacy yarn. So in other words, this was given to me by Randy's Aunt Gail, who is a knitter. She lives in the Northeast of the United States, and she was invited to check out the stash of the sister of a woman who was going into memory care, older woman who has dementia. And Aunt Gail was very glad she did because she has very nice yarn. As you can see, this is hedgehog fiber. I have never knit with that before. Yes, hedgehog fibers. And I think this is a perfect autumnal color that's going to go well with this. Hopefully you can see that. And I'll put my glasses back on so I can read the details of this hedgehog fiber yarn. So I'm really looking forward to knitting this. This is 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. So the colorway is truffle. And I'm trying to see if there's, I don't see a year on it, so I don't know how long this was in this woman's stash. But for those of you who have a big stash of yarn like I do, I think it's important to think about a legacy for them, to go to a place where they will be appreciated. And I have a person in mind who's at least 10 years younger than me, so, and I am just also trying to use up all my yarn. So this is Sofia's Tales Sock Mystery Knit Along. So this is just the first page of it, and those are, I think those are her suggested. So one of them can be a self-striping or a variegated. You can see that because of the glare, but high contrast. So I'm really looking forward to this. And this starts October 6th. Her needle suggestion is, I don't know if you can hear that bang, 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 bang. Says you will only be knitting with one color at a time. The pattern is written in 2 sizes with an 18 or 21 centimeter circumference. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of math to figure that out. I'm thinking I'll probably end up doing the 21. Size, needles. She uses a 225, so that probably means I can use my standard 2 millimeter size 0 needles. And this bag, my mom made me. Yeah, a nice quilted bag with a lining and a zipper. I have since, she also knit this bag, or made this bag for me with a drawstring. And I did share with her that I prefer the drawstring because I don't get yarn caught in the zipper. So anyway, yeah, she is very handy with the sewing machine. So here's the innards of it and the dragonfly pattern. But yeah, I love this. I love these bags and really appreciate them. So what else have I been up to? Acquisitions. So I did the Polka Dot Creek, what's it called? It's an advent. It's a Halloween advent, I guess. So you get a certain number of, I don't remember how many I got. It's been so long. So Polka Dot Creek yarn is in Alberta, Canada. And let's see. And I don't know whether I did this right. I mean, to me, it's October 1st. So it looks like there's, and each one came up wrapped. And I opened this morning already. So this is day 1. And this is this pretty little color here. So this is Sarah Sanderson self-striping. It's 10 grams, 45 yards, 75-25 superwash. Doesn't say what superwash what. It's just that it's fingering. So yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet. I'm going to wait and see what the other days are. So I assume this is a 12-day. Let me see. There's 8. There's 12. Yeah, it looks like a 12. Oh, here's 13. Oh, fun. So, and then there's this other bag of goodies that, oh, this is day 7. So I'm not going to open this until day 7. But I just wanted to share that with you. They also have a Christmas Advent. I can't remember if I signed up for that. I know I signed up for an Advent for Christmas or December, and but I don't remember who. So, yeah. Okay, so that's that. And then the final thing I want to talk about is I am participating in a Scrappy Exchange with, so the Creabea, if you watch her podcast, suggested this. So she paired up, I think it was like 750 people who signed up, and she paired us each up according to our preferences and stuff like that. So I got paired up with a knitter in Portland, Oregon, which is south of where I live. And I have picked out these yarns. I think you're supposed to have to read the directions, but it's like 12 minis that you're supposed to put together. So, and I did that. So a lot of these are just sock scraps. There's a mohair sample that I got. I'm finding I don't really like knitting with mohair, so I'm going to give that away. A lot of these are, that's from a shawl. I think that's a Madeline Tosh. This is from a t-shirt I made. This is Barocco. It feels like it's got some cotton in it. This is a hand-dyed yarn that I made. The Love Note sweater. And this was held with a mohair. And I bought this yarn from a shop on Whidbey Island. And then this is a sock yarn. It's part of a mini. I think that was a 20-ounce mini. And here's another one that's like it. So yeah, this is what I put together. And I think for a bonus, I'm going to add this linen wool blend that's from a V-neck sweater I made. And just, so there should be about, this skein is, I'm going to say this is 50 grams, and there's about 20 grams here. So, you know, this could be like a nice little scarf. So I think I'm going to give that as kind of a bonus gift. And I'm still kind of putting together the yarns, although I think I am going to put that hollyhock yarn in from the Misurina. I have quite a bit of that, and the person that I'm exchanging likes jewel colored tones, so I think that's going to be perfect. So that's the end of the knitting content. The horse content, I went for a ride on Odin the other day. Went on a trail ride with a friend. It was really fun. It was just a really lovely sunny fall day like today is. And that was pretty awesome. And then I've been continuing working with Bragi, the younger Mustang, he's 5, on trailer loading. He is on the path to getting under saddle. I'm not in a hurry because I have, Odin is my saddle horse. He's 11 years old. He's like the perfect age. And I just want to enjoy him while he's at this perfect age and ride him. So Bragi, he's 5. He can wait. Odin wasn't started under saddle until he was 6 because he was out in the wild until he was 6. And he's just a fabulous horse. I'm hoping the same thing for Bragi. So the goal right now is to get him in the trailer, be able to haul him somewhere that we can do some other work with him and just have fun with him, and also maybe just ponying him on the trails or just taking him for a walk on the trails. Bragi's a very different horse than Odin. He's a lot more reactive. Odin is a lot more thoughtful. They're from 2 different herd management areas in Oregon. Odin is Cold Springs, Bragi is Warm Springs. And it's just part of their personality differences. So, you know, teaching Bragi how to think instead of panic, and just teaching him how to be mature. That's kind of my goal. So my trainer comes over and helps me out on Friday afternoons. And the previous time we tried one technique of getting him in the trailer that seemed to work. And I practiced it, but it wasn't working. In fact, we were kind of sliding backwards in our progress. So we tried a different technique this last Friday. I haven't had a chance to try it again. Yesterday was a very trying day, and for a lot of reasons that I don't really need to go into detail here. And I'm just kind of worn out today. I've had a headache since about 1:30 in the morning. So I'm just, like I said, I think I mentioned earlier that I'm just going to relax today, and the horses can have the day off and we can just start fresh tomorrow. So the other reason why I'm not in a super hurry about getting Bragi under saddle is because he needs a lot of consistent work, and I work full time. And it's kind of hard when you have 2 horses and a full-time job and a garden and all this knitting that that I could possibly ride enough to make it worthwhile, so that we weren't starting over every single time that I got on him. I don't have a facility here. I mean, I'm just a backyard horse owner with a barn and some pasture for them to enjoy. So I'm just trying to be realistic about what I can and can't do with him. I also want him to be super safe. I mean, I'm going to be over 60 by the time I retire. And do I want to get on a young green horse at that point? Well, I don't know. That doesn't seem very smart. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about that. So more to come on that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this content. I don't think I have any bonus pictures at the end of the video like I usually do. If I do, I'll tag it on there and hopefully remember to label it. So enjoy the fall, enjoy October, and I'll see you hopefully in 2 weeks' time. Bye.